Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thomas here from Wakely Properties in Paddington. Just a quick video this morning. I wanted to talk about a few things that we saw over the month of June in the market in our team at Wakely Properties. So during the month of June, we met 319 buyer groups at our open homes. So obviously a buyer group can be one person to a whole family. So the amount of people is much more than that, but buyer groups, we met 319 through our open homes. G'day mates, how you going, Donald? You well? I might have a bit of a chat with whoever can be bothered watching today. So here we are, but 319 groups through is pretty decent, especially when you take into account all the things that are going on in the world at the moment. So I think a lot of that's driven by the desire of the general population to just get back to normal, get on with it. So that's been a really good thing. We sold within our team $10.8 million worth of real estate. That was 9 properties, and we've already got 3 under contract and a couple already unconditional of those this month already, and it's only the 4th. So really good signs in the market. And the title of the video is "What do you think?" And I suppose the what do you think is about what do you reckon is going to happen in the market now moving forward. There's a lot of moving parts in the market at the moment that we need to consider. One of those being, of course, the stimulus packages all being revoked as of September. So we've seen the daycare, the free daycare subsidy, or however that was worded, that's already been revoked, or at least it will be, I think, on the 12th of this month. So that's going back to normal. The JobKeeper is set to come unstuck in September. I believe the Job Seeker is going to go back to normal, or at least a variation of that. So there's a lot of things that are going to be going back to the way they were from a financial standpoint within the government. And, you know, there are businesses, hey Lauren, how are you going? That are being propped up entirely by JobKeeper at the moment. So there's a lot of people who are employed by companies that are being held open purely because they're receiving that money from the government. So it's going to be some interesting times ahead. So what we can comment on is what's happening at the moment, but moving forward, you can see there's a lot of things that are happening. The other thing that I didn't see coming was that as an employee who is receiving a JobKeeper payment through their employer, you have to sign for that. So even though the employer receives the payment and on-pays that to you, you sign for that, so you're registered for it. Therefore, the banks are aware that you're receiving that payment. Now they know that you're being employed by a company that's receiving those and are less inclined to be lending money to you. If there are a couple of other red flags, then that's going to be a big problem, right? So those sorts of things that we didn't know was kind of in the works. That's happening as well. Lowered. The lending criteria is tightening up a little bit. I suppose Westpac has come out and said that they're going to be assessing people's personal incomes at a lower rate, which makes a big difference, especially if you've been saving for a deposit. It might mean that you can't actually borrow anymore, or it might mean that you have to borrow a significantly lower amount if you're still going to go through with it. People who are self-employed would have to double their deposit. Now that's a big deal in the areas that we're working in where the median sale price is $1 million. If you were working on a 20% deposit and $200,000, which is already significant, if you have to try and squeeze another $200,000, that might mean that you're out of the market for at least a couple of years. So heaps and heaps and heaps of things going on at the moment that will impact the market later on, or at least we have to think that they would do. But what's happening right now is that things are moving. Levi, how are you, bud? Do you want to come on camera there, big fella? See if I can get you on camera. I don't know. Don't know if it works. I'm trying. I had a problem with this last week. Couldn't get... You busy today, mate? Can't get you on camera. I'm trying to. See if there's a function on yours that you can join. Stephen, how are you, mates? You kind of missed all the juice of it. Now it's just me talking to the camera like a clown, which I suppose is probably what the juice of it was. Not getting on there. Anyway. Right out. Good on you. All right. Well, anyway, I'm going to leave you to it. Thank you so much for watching. Even you, Stephen. Thanks, guys. See you later. Have a great weekend.